What's up, people? What's up, people? This is Abraham Walker, and we are watching Where to Live in Northern Virginia. We're doing something just a little bit different on the channel. We're going to bring you some data, some numbers as we go into the spring market here. Springtime is really when all the professional home sellers, professional home buyers, the big shots all come out to play. So we know that this is the time of the year when the most people buy and sell homes. So this is the most number of transactions that will occur. So late March, April, May, early June, that's the prime selling season. So the best way to kind of understand what's going to happen during our prime selling season is to really look at what happens in January, February, March timeframe, right? So the February numbers were just released. I've been crunching the data, and there's some alarming things happening in our market right now. So, not to make sure this isn't too clickbaity, I do want to kind of go over 5 properties that actually sold for $300,000 more than the asking price, and then we'll kind of go through the overall numbers for Fairfax County, Northern Virginia area. So for the purpose of this video, we consider Northern Virginia everywhere except Loudoun County. I know some people kind of get on me about the fact that I don't include Loudoun in my numbers. It's just that Loudoun is such a wide area, and the eastern border of Loudoun is so far from the DC area that it gets weird as you get closer. I mean, to the western part of Loudoun, right? So let's talk about 5 properties that sold for above $300,000 over asking price. The thing that you'll probably find interesting is that 2 of the properties were in Falls Church. 2 of the properties were in Arlington, and then 1 was in Oakton. All of the properties were already above $1 million, right? So the least expensive property was at $1.225 million, and the most expensive property was just shy of $2 million at $1.99999 million, right? So these properties all sold above $300,000. This is the beginning of what we'll probably start to see a future trend as far as what buyers are going to do to win these properties, right? I'm not certain how much on edge a buyer has to be to offer more than $250,000 over the asking price, but some people say that this is just a sign that maybe the properties are priced too low, right? So maybe some of these properties should have been priced a little bit higher. Who's to say? If you're going to be shopping for properties, we're going to talk about what the average price over to the asking price was paid for in Northern Virginia. We're also going to talk about the number of units sold, average sales price, and then we'll finish up with what to do, what to expect that will happen with this particular market. So 58% of the properties in Northern Virginia sold over asking price in February. So that means a little bit more than 1 out of 2 properties, and 1,074 homes sold over asking total, right? Now, this is a little bit concerning because I know a lot of buyers, especially when I bring this stat to them, they'll say to me, well, Abraham, that means 42% of the properties sold either at list price or even below list price, right? Yes, that is the case. And I want you to look at this a little bit different. I want you to think about the fact that this is in February. February is supposed to be a chill month for real estate. That's how it's normally structured. We usually have a lull in January and things start to pick up slightly in February. But if we're seeing 50%, more than 50% of all the properties that sold in February sell above over asking price, then you won't be able to imagine what's going to happen in March, April, May, when people really see the real estate market as the prime time of the year, right? A lot of properties don't come on the market during the rest of the season because sellers who have positioned themselves and agents who have positioned their clients to sell at the most optimal time, right? The time of the year where you make the most amount of money are preparing to come on the market in the next few weeks to 2 to 3 months, right? So when those prime pieces of property come on the market, the prices that you should expect to pay for properties should shoot up drastically. Okay. Now, when we talk about over asking price, we're saying that the average price paid above the asking price was $36,000. So when you're looking at a property on the MLS, just know that's the starting price for more than half of all of the properties. And how much are people paying for those properties? $36,000 on average. We already know that some people paid as much as $300,000 over asking price. So what does that mean for you? That means that you, when you're buying a house right now, if you're preparing to buy a house right now, there needs to be a conversation that's being had between you and your agent about how much money you're going to bring to the table. Now, what if you're thinking to yourself, you know what, Abraham, I don't want to pay over asking price for a property. I only want to pay list price for the property. I only want to pay what the property is worth. Worth is a value statement, right? That what is the property value to you? This isn't to say that the house isn't going to appraise, right? Because when on the listing side, right? So when I'm representing a seller client, there is a hesitation on the listing agent to not price the property too high for fear that there won't be that much interest, the house won't appraise, and if the house doesn't get an offer in that first week or so, that people will look at the property in a negative context. So one thing we have a couple of our clients that we're working with right now doing is they don't look at properties on the first week that they come on the market, right? They're looking at properties on day 8, day 9, that second week. If you look at properties on that second week, you're much more likely to find a property that you're not going to have to pay over asking price for. Now, with 58% of the property selling above asking price, right? That means that you only are looking at 50% of the properties, less than 50% of the properties, right, that are even going to make it to that second week on the market, right? Now, as far as over asking price, this is the stats as far as single family homes, 63% of the property sold over asking price, 70% of townhouses, only 30%, only 3 out of 10 properties sold either at list price or under for a townhouse. That's crazy. Now, this does make sense. Townhouses are more or less like our entry-level product that goes for most first-time home buyers, right? Like a lot of our first-time home buyers are looking at townhouses or small single-family houses, but most likely townhouses. So it makes sense that we're going to see the most competition right here at this townhouse level. If this is the category that you're in, just prepare to pay over asking price. And again, this doesn't mean that the house is not going to appraise for that value. It doesn't mean that you're going to actually bring that cash to the table, because appraisals or appraisers are prepared for what's happening in the market, and they're pricing the properties for the appraisals ahead of the market, right? So there is some risk when you do buy a house or pay more than asking price for a property. You do need to be prepared for the event that the home doesn't appraise, right? But just keep in mind, appraisers they do understand that we are in an up market, and so they are pricing ahead of the market. And then 42% of all condos sold over asking price. I really think that a lot of people are missing an opportunity in the condo market here, because the condos stay on the market just a little bit longer than all of the other housing type or property types, and it gives you an opportunity, at least for the first-time home buyers or professionals, to have the home buying experience, start building equity in your property while this market is kind of going insane right now, right? So just keep that in mind. I would love to see more people look at the condo market, look at the condos as a viable opportunity to enter into the market, control your rent, and also start building equity. We have helped several clients who, 10 years ago, 7 years ago, bought a condo. They paid down their mortgage. The condo appreciated in value. And then they went from a condo to a townhouse or a single family house with about, $100,000 in equity, right? So this is a play that is open to you. Now, the last thing we want to touch on is that, with this over asking price, just keep in mind, you're going to be in a bidding war, most likely, especially if you're looking at properties that are well staged. They look like the renovations are on point. Just expect to be in a bidding war, right? And have your agent, right? Have your agent, whatever agent you choose. If you're not using us, we know a couple of you are not choosing to reach out to us, which we don't know why yet, but we'll figure that out. But if your agent isn't telling you what are people in that zip code or in the surrounding zip codes, how much are they paying over asking price? You want to find out that and remember, just listen to me. You don't want to look at just a comparable analysis for the property you're looking at, because that's an old way of doing business. And it's also outdated, because if we're doing a comparative analysis for a client when they express interest in placing an offer on a property, we're only looking at properties that meet the criteria or that are in the same ballpark or range as the subject property, the property that you're interested in. The reason why you don't want to use that tool, or you want to use that tool plus looking at over asking price for the surrounding area, is you want to find out what other buyers agents at this time are doing to help their clients win offers, right? Because if you notice, or you'll see this, that we don't really have too many too many comps for subject properties that don't go past 90 days, right? So 90 days, we may have like maybe 4 to 5 properties that match the criteria or that are considered like properties to the property you're interested in. Well, 90 days ago, that was in December. December prices are irrelevant right now. Right? December prices are irrelevant. So you want to look at what are people in that surrounding zip code and that surrounding geographic area. If the zip code doesn't have that many sales, how many people, right? What are buyers agents telling their clients to offer over asking price? And then you want to see if you can compete with that. If you can't compete with that, then, maybe you want to hold off buying a house until the fall season, the winter season. I tell you all time and time again, right? The best time to get a deal is in the late fall, early winter season. Every year on this channel, I talk about this, and people don't listen. They reach out to us in January, and then all of a sudden it's too late. It's all this competition. Anyway, okay, before we go off to our next segment, let me just clear out the comment section here. All right, no comments. Perfect. All right. So units sold. This is the number of houses that sold in February. 1,856 homes sold. That's down 12% from last year. Why is that important? Why is 12% down important? That means that we actually have 12% less homes being sold, while also, if we go to the front here, while also having Okay, that means that they were most likely in bidding wars. If they were in bidding wars or multiple bids, that means that 58% or 1,074 buyers did not secure a property. Right. That means that those buyers are now in March looking for properties. Do you see how this is going to accumulate? Because we already have enough buyers really to support all of the transactions that are coming out. But I'm just going to let you know, this market is going to get a little insane in the springtime, right? So as far as single family homes, 12%, the single family home sales are down 12%, townhouses are down 19%. And again, look at those condos. I'm telling you, those condos, we're bringing you more content on this channel about condos because we see a great opportunity to get into an entry-level product, right? That should be big enough, right? You're not going to be able to get a sectional sofa. You're probably not going to be able to get a king size bed in your room, but you can get an entry level product while also making sure your rent doesn't increase over time, and you start the process of building equity. Okay, condos are only down by 4% as far as the transactions. This means with the units sold being down right now, this means you have less homes to purchase. And what we're noticing, at least from our seller clients that we're assisting right now, is our seller clients are nervous about selling their properties because they do not have anywhere to go. Sellers are benefiting from the fact that home prices are increasing right now, right? You know, they're enjoying going to the closing table and making all this money, but those same people now have to go out into the market and hopefully compete with you, if you're buying a property. This is one of the reasons why inventory is starting to get so tight right now, is sellers are nervous, right? The market is like this flow of inventory, or like musical chairs, really. So it's like musical chairs. A condo owner sells their condo to a first-time buyer and then moves into a townhouse. The townhouse seller sells their townhouse to the condo owner and then moves into a single-family home. That townhouse seller, who's now a single-family home buyer, has now helped that seller either move into a luxury product or downsize. You see how this market works? The market is fluid like this. So we're moving people, this musical chairs. And right now, the market is so tight right now. Units sold is down for another month in a row. This is going to cause even more challenges for our market, right? Okay, now average sales price is up 8% from last year to $658,000. As our average price continues to rise, more people are complaining, or you're seeing more reports about affordability, right? Whether or not home prices are becoming, they're not affordable, right? And what I have to say about that is, everybody's not going to buy a house. Buying a house is a privilege. It's a privilege to people who have either prepared themselves, have enough money saved up. So when you see these reports about whether or not homes are affordable or whether or not the housing market will crash, just know we don't have enough homes to sell everybody anyway. I mean, if you're to live in a Northern Virginia area, you see those large apartment complexes, right? You even for Amazon HQ2, there's several apartment complexes that are coming up to service the housing need for this area. That means that those apartment complexes aren't going to be converted into condos. They're going to be rentals forever. You're looking at 500 to 700 unit rental complexes. That means that people in Northern Virginia, everybody's not going to be able to buy a house. So it is a privilege. Just keep that in mind. Hopefully you get the opportunity, if you're looking at this video, to take advantage of that privilege, right? As far as single-family houses, the average sales price for a single family is just over $900,000 and $922,000. That's up 11%. Townhouses, $578,000, and then condos at $388,000. Again, condos are very attractive. I think that they are the solution for first-time home buyers. They also afford you the opportunity to have most likely a more desirable commute in most scenarios. So make sure you don't rule out condos. We get a lot of people who really have personal situations that could afford them to live comfortably in a condo, but they choose to go in a townhouse. And as you can see, you're looking at a $200,000 increase in your budget by moving from a condo to a townhouse, and then you're almost $350,000 or so to go from a townhouse to a single family property. Just expect to pay more for a property in these coming months: March, April, May, June. If you waited to buy, if last year you thought the market was so crazy that you just wanted to hold off because you thought it was going to crash, you thought that, no telling what you thought was going to happen. Well, this year is going to be even more insane. The market is even more constricted than it was last year. Finishing up, what now? What should you be anticipating doing as a buyer in this market? Well, first of all, you need to know that things are going to get worse, right? It's not going to get better. You shouldn't expect for anything to change. You should expect for things to continue on their current trend. In our real estate market, the trend is prices continue to increase all the way through the summertime. So once we start to have our spring price increase, those prices increase into the summertime. I'm talking about the middle of the summer. Now, the prices shouldn't decrease in the summertime. They'll just probably go into like a little lull, or they'll go steady as individuals start to go on vacation, right? So despite everybody not having kids in this area, our market is kind of dictated by those little ones, right? Because as soon as the summer hits, people go on vacations. We'll see less inventory come on the market. We'll see less buyers interested in buying because they'll be going on vacation too. So if you are strapped for cash, if you really want to be a homeowner, right, and you don't want to necessarily compete middle of summer, when it's super hot outside, maybe a great opportunity for you. I also predict that the fall, like middle of fall, after the kids have been in school for a couple of weeks, that's going to be another great opportunity for you all the way up until early winter. So I'm talking about December 15th, right? After that time, if this continues to go like this, then we should see the market pick right back up at the end of the year. All right. Now, as far as what can you do to win your offers, right? So if you're telling me, Abraham, my lease is up at the end of June, I have to buy a house, I'm not going to pay the landlord's mortgage anymore, then you want to get pre-approved, not pre-qualified. Pre-qualification is really just something you just go to a website, you fill out the form. The lender says, okay, great. Based on what you told me, you qualify for a property. We don't want you to do that. We want you to get pre-approved. It's going to take you a little bit longer. You're going to have to submit all your paperwork, all of your bank statements, all of your employment verification forms, your taxes. But then this document will allow you to buy a property in 2 to 3 weeks, or close in 2 to 3 weeks versus 4 weeks like a traditional mortgage. Then there's the walk and talk. I did a video on my channel about the steps to buying a home during this market. In that video, I talk about the 4 types of home inspections. The walk and talk is not an inspection, but it will allow you the opportunity to see if the major systems that will cost you the most amount of money, to see if those systems have any issues. What systems are we talking about? The HVAC system and the electrical system, right? The hot water heater is not that big of a deal because hot water heaters only cost anywhere from $1,200 to $2,000, right? But an HVAC system, if you had to replace that, you're looking at anywhere from $7,000 to $12,000. If it's a single family house, you could go up to $15,000 to $20,000, depending on if you need multiple units, right? So you want to, your home inspection period now, you may have to remove the home inspection, right? If 58% of the properties are selling above or over asking price, then already that people were removing contingencies, right? They were taking more risk, right? One way for you to limit the amount of risk you take is to do a walk and talk inspection. I mean, it's not an inspection. It's just a walk and talk. It's where a licensed home inspector will walk the property with you. They will get into the HVAC system. They may have enough time to pull off a door here and there, but the walk and talk. And then the next thing you want to consider is a free rent back, right? So a lot of sellers that are selling in the springtime, a lot of them have children, right? If they have children, then they're not going to want to move out of their property until the children go to school. I mean, till school ends in late May, early June. So that means that you may look at a property in March and they want a 60-day rent back. And I've had this conversation so many times where my clients do not want to offer a free rent back to the client because they feel like it's the principle of the matter. Like, why would I let this person live in my house for free? Hey, stop that. Don't think like that. Don't think like that. This is just a strategy. You're just being strategic. rent for your unit may cost what, $3,500 to $6,000, depending on the size of the property. All you're doing is increasing your offer, right, by offering another valuable item to the seller. That's all this is. Stop looking at this like you're just giving away, letting the person stay in the property for free. That's not what you're doing. You're just offering more value to the seller to make your offer more desirable. That's what you're doing. Okay. That's what you're doing. Right. Lastly, get used to putting in a lot of offers, right? Stop falling in love with properties. This is not the market to find a dream home. Okay. This is not the market to find a dream home. Anytime we have people offering $300,000 over asking price, this is not the time to find a dream home. This is a time to find a home that's going to suit your lifestyle. Okay. Not a dream home. We have to, you have to release the idea that you're emotionally attached to these properties when you see them, because you may not be able to afford to compete with some of the people in this market. We're in a high cost of living market. We have some of the most educated individuals here. We also have, while it is a more liberal market, we also have some of the most conservative people here because they're also some of the most educated people, right? Someone who has who stayed in school to get their master's degree or their PhD, they lived a conservative life to invest in their education all this time. So a lot of these individuals, especially a lot of my clients, have a lot of savings, right? You don't know if you can compete with those individuals. So don't get emotionally attached to properties. Get super comfortable with putting multiple offers on multiple properties week after week after week after week. It's a numbers game. If you play the numbers game, the numbers will reward you. Okay? I hope that this video doesn't scare you off. I just want to make sure that you're prepared for what is about to happen this spring market. It is going to be a little nerve-wracking for some of you, especially if you don't have enough money saved up. I think first-time home buyers are going to struggle the most because a lot of people who do have a lot of money to put down on properties actually sold a property. So they use the equity from their previous property to kind of compete in this market. I just want you to be prepared, right, for what's about to happen. If you're going to win in the spring market in this spring in Northern Virginia, then this is just the way it is right now, okay? But if you can't compete, I don't want you to sit on the sidelines this year, right? I don't want you to sit down on the sidelines this entire year, because we have clients who checked out of the market in 2000 and they had to pay an additional $100,000 for the property that they wanted, right? We have no idea when this market will stop doing what it's doing. We have no idea. So we shouldn't pretend like we have a crystal ball that will tell us exactly what's going to happen. So we know from history that there's a lull in the middle of the summer, and there's also a lull in that early winter season. That may be the time to prepare yourself to jump on opportunities, right? And then move forward. Okay, we have a couple questions. I hope you liked this type of session here. This is a new thing we're bringing to the channel. Just kind of look at the numbers, kind of have a conversation with you about it. All right. MSM41009 said, "This is good information. Thank you so much. I'm glad you like it. Would you recommend to waive assessment? Would I recommend it? I would recommend you do what it takes to win, right? You'll see a lot of articles right now talking about buyers having buyer's remorse. Hey, this is a market where either you're going to buy a house or you're not going to buy a house. Now, you know who has remorse right now? You know who really has remorse right now? The people who did not buy last year, who now are going to pay an additional $50,000 for their property. That person should have remorse, because based on like how the major systems in your property work, there's not really many things that cost $50,000. There's just not that many things. So your goal or your objective is to win a property. And if you're going to be here for some length of time, just don't look at your property like an ATM machine, right? This is a 5, 7, 10 year play. Okay. So you have time to make up for any corrections that may happen in the market. I don't know if they will be a correction, but you just have time to make up that correction. So would you recommend to waive assessments? I think I would recommend you, if you're going after desirable properties, right? If you're going after one of these properties where a buyer paid over $300,000 for a property, then how are you going to win? How are you going to win if you have a whole bunch of contingencies, right? So this is all about winning. Hope that answers your question. MSM 41009. Okay, that's it for me. That's it for this session. If you have any other questions, I'll stay on for maybe like a minute or two. Put those in the chat, and then I'll answer them. But otherwise, I just want to say, like this, who would have thought that we would have a second year of this insane market, right? Like who would have thought? No one predicted this. If you look at all of the YouTubers in the YouTube land, or if you look at all of the analysts, all the analysts predicted in December, late December, early January, that our market was actually going to tank this year, right? They looked at 3%, 4% growth, and now look at things. February is already up 8% in our market. More than half of all the properties sold were sold above asking price. I mean, it is about to get insane. All right, MSM says, how about financing contingency, waive or not waive? What is the risk? Excellent question. I'm not an attorney, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express. So please consult with your real estate agent. The financing contingency, well, really all of the contingencies. Think about all of the contingencies, not just the financing contingency. All of the contingencies are tied to one thing, your earnest money deposit. So we're starting to see earnest money deposits increase. They used to be just 1% of the asking price. Now they're going up to 3% of the asking price. In some situations, I've heard people put their entire down payment as the earnest money deposit. We're also seeing people put non-refundable earnest money deposits. I mean, people are doing whatever it takes to win. So with the financing contingency, you're still in that same category of, if you remove the financing contingency and you don't get approved for the loan, then your earnest money deposit will be up for grabs, and you may have the opportunity to get sued, right? So those are the two things that could happen to you. Again, I'm not an attorney. I'm also not your real estate agent. I don't believe I am. So please consult with an attorney and your real estate agent about this. So there is risk. The risk is your earnest money deposit. We're seeing a lot larger earnest money deposits being put on the table right now. So you could lose that amount of money. Now, I will say, this is just an aside. And I think it's in North Carolina. In North Carolina, you have to put up two different pieces of deposits, like two different types of deposit. You have to put what we call an earnest money deposit, but then there's also this non-refundable fee or something like that goes to the seller if you back out of the contract. So while in our market, it seems risky to remove these financing contingencies. In other markets, you lose money if the house doesn't inspect properly, or if it doesn't appraise. So I think that risk is relative. Just know that you'll still be, even if you take the financing contingency out of there, the lender will still go through the whole process. This is why getting pre-approved is so important. Getting pre-approved allows you the opportunity to remove your financing contingency, right? It just allows you the opportunity to even think about it, right? If you already are pre-approved, the lender already has your documents, they already have your paperwork. It says on the pre-approval paperwork, right, that as long as you stay in good standing, you keep your job, and we find a house, then boom, you should be good to go. Yeah, another thing too with the financing contingency, if you were to remove it, if you waive or keep the appraisal contingency, you do run the risk that the properties are increasing at such a pace that the appraisals are going up, right? So appraisers are trying to take into consideration that we're in an upward trending market, and so they are pricing a little bit ahead of the appraised values. But if that appraisal comes short, then you're going to be on the hook for that difference, right? So that's some of the risk, right? So you have there's, I guess, three risks. There's your earnest money deposit. You can lose that. There's the fact that you can get sued, right? Sued for a specific performance. That's where the seller tries to force you to perform. I will say we don't really see too many people getting sued for specific performance unless it's a cash transaction, right? If you showed the seller that you have the money in the bank and then you try to back out the deal, then we've seen cases where they go after you. And then you could be on the hook for, if the home doesn't appraise, then you have to pay the difference. Does that answer your question? MSM 41009. Hope that does. All right. Any other questions before I jump off? What did you think about today's video? Please let me know. Also, before we leave, just want to let you know there is a link in the description to the Perfect Home Questionnaire. You fill out that link, and then we'll schedule a time to meet online via Zoom. I'll answer any questions that you may have about the real estate market, and then we can kind of go into details about your personal situation, right? I don't like for people to divulge too much personal information on these sessions, but I do want to answer any questions that you may have, because you all, the individuals watching right now, you're most likely either in the market. A lot of the people who reach out to us are either in the market right now, they want to be in the market right now, or they're probably 6 months away. So I know that a lot of our viewers are about to make a decision, and we just want you to know, especially as we go into this spring market, we're going to be bringing you some more data as far as the numbers are concerned, so that you could make the best decision, right? This is all about being informed, making a great decision. Well, I'm your host, Abraham Walker. This is Ask It Walker, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the next video. Peace.